guys, it's Meredith. How are you? I hope you are wonderful. Today we're going to do part 2 on Mercury, and we're going to talk about Mercury through the houses. So I hope you got a lot out of my last Mercury video, and if you haven't watched that one, you need to go and watch my Mercury part 1 video. I also have a couple other videos. I have a live on Mercury in retrograde. I really recommend you watch that. I talk about the aspects of Mercury to the other planets in your chart. In this video, I want to run through the houses, and we're not going to talk by sign. We're just going to do the houses today, and maybe I will do a part 3 video and we'll do the signs. But I did briefly go over the signs in my last video. Let's talk about if you have Mercury in the first house. If you have Mercury in the first house, I am telling you, you are pretty damn smart. You probably have a lot of passion when it comes to your ideas and communicating and talking. And I will tell you, you are probably funny as hell. I was going to say something different, but you're probably really inquisitive. You're probably super funny, very clever, super smart. Like, this is a smarty pants placement. And the closer it is to the ascendant, the more likely you are going to see this person's mind. You probably are a good writer. You are probably a good storyteller, but you're going to want to talk about things that are deeply personal to you. You're going to want to talk about your life, your car, your house, your kids, your ideas, your issues, your challenges, your job, your work, your family, your. You also might be kind of high strung and a little bit nervous, and you might like have a little bit of a nervousness when you talk. You might not be like a super relaxed person. Maybe it's not that bad, but I'm just saying there's so much mercurial energy in a first house Mercury or Mercury rising that it's kind of like being extra caffeinated. Yeah. If you have Mercury in the second house, you get a lot of confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem from your Mercury, from your mind, and from communicating. All aspects of communicating. So thinking, talking, relating to people. And you might also really study money management, or business. I also find that people who have Mercury in the second house usually make their money through the process of communication, or the art of talking to other people, talking on the phone, maybe working the chat, maybe through the internet, all forms of communication. This is also somebody who might be like a paid copywriter, a person who is a paid advertiser, or somebody who is a speechwriter, or even a writer. A lot of authors have this placement. This is a great placement to spend your money, and these people usually like spending their money on knowledge and learning. Mercury in the third house is really interesting. It loves being here because this is Gemini's natural house placement. These people are usually really clever, very witty. They're very fast talkers, smooth talkers, big talkers. They're adaptable, they're flexible, they're open-minded. They are very objective, and they love to study. They love to learn. I will also say they usually are musically inclined. This is like the piano, the guitar, with multiple strings. Oftentimes I find with Mercury in this house, no matter the sign, they're usually multilingual. So bilingual or trilingual. They might know sign language. They might know a multitude of languages. They usually have the ability to become fluent in numerous languages, or they're oftentimes even singers. But they have the ability to think about boatloads of different things. Their mind is like a mosaic. They're just constantly stimulated, and maybe even overstimulated. They probably love day trips or short journeys. They probably love their bicycle, their moped, their motorcycle, or their car. And this is a really good placement for teachers and students alike. They like detailed work. They usually are really adept with technology or the computer, and they are usually just brilliant writers and speakers. So this is a really exciting placement for Mercury. Okay, Mercury in the fourth house. These people also tend to be very studious with language arts, with writing, with creative writing. They probably like to study more nurturing environments rather than a lab, let's say, something that's a little bit cozier, maybe even their home. They get a lot of deep and personal security from knowledge. Knowledge is what makes them feel safe, but they do need to learn how to relax and unwind. They probably love cuddling up with a book, or listening to books, or constantly learning about things that will improve their life Self-improvement is a big thing here. They can be deeply psychic and intuitive with their Mercury in the 4th house. Also, I think these people like love the cafes where you can meet your friends and just talk and communicate in a warm place where you can get coffee and retreat from the busyness of the world. Okay, I also want to say if you have your Mercury here, you either had a very smart mother or you had somebody in your family, even a sibling, that really took good care of you or really pumped the concept of education into you. Like education was very, very important to your family and maybe especially to your mother. It could just be your heritage and your roots, but you could have also had a mother that was in education or somebody in your family was in education. And this can be also somebody who was homeschooled or went abroad, like to a boarding school or lived at school or just did their studies at home. This can be somebody who also moved around a lot. This can be somebody who has a very nomadic lifestyle. I find this placement very, very fascinating. You'll have to tell me if you agree with these. Okay, Mercury in the 5th house. Tell me if you have this. It's really interesting. This might be a person who has a tendency to have a lot of lovers and change out their lovers. You have to think of Mercury as like constantly changing, constantly on the move. So whatever subject matter of the house Mercury is in, you're going to have a flurry of activity. So you're going to have a flurry of probably lovers, a flurry of activity around lovers. This is also the house of children. So you might have a lot of children or you might have a fluctuation with kids. Maybe you have children, get married, have more children, then maybe you get divorced and you lose your stepchildren back to your ex-husband, and then you get remarried and you inherit 2 more children. You know, it's just a lot of children, and it's usually done in a way that's like a mosaic. This is also the house of like games and strategy and mastering artistic skills. So this has a flamboyance to it. This is the actor, the performer, the singer. And this is also somebody who's massively, massively creative thinking. This is a place where you can be quite childlike and joyful and fun. This would be a brilliant like child actor, a Disney actor or children's author. I would say this is a very fun, this is a very sexy, this is a very exciting, this is a very joyful place to have Mercury. I'd also say that your children can be your teachers. The people around you, especially your kids, can be quite talkative, and your lovers can want to really connect with you verbally. And this, I would say, is the house of words of affirmation. So you probably are quite generous with your words. Okay, Mercury in the 6th house is just a genius placement. These are very, very smart people. I mean, if you are doing a reading for somebody who has Mercury in the 6th house, I just want you to go, oh, I am talking to a very smart person and I need to be very, very smart right now. So do you have Mercury in the 6th house and do you consider yourself super smart? These people have an analytical ability to perfect almost anything. They probably love and are so good with the technology and electronics. They are also kind of futuristic. They are not stuck in a rut. However, they do love routine and they love to master routine. I also kind of find Mercury in the 6th house people have kind of an impeccableness. They like to be precisely right, exactly correct, and they don't like to oversell or undersell. They like to be precision is the word. I will tell you though that this is kind of a hard placement because it's very high strung and it can create a lot of nervous anxiety. So I do want to ask you guys about that. Do you feel an anxiety with this placement? Whoever has Mercury in the 6th house, no matter the sign, but do you feel high strung? Do you feel like it's really hard to relax? They usually serve in some capacity or they become a middle manager. So they're a liaison between, the different echelons where they connect groups of people and they usually serve people in higher powers. You could be like the assistant to the president, or you could be Secretary of State, something like that. But I would also say these people usually worry about their health, although they are usually really highly focused on physical fitness, and mental health is a very big placement here. Either they study mental health, or they worry about their mental health, or they have mental health issues, or they work hard to keep their sanity and to keep their mind very, very healthy. Work is so important to these people. That's how they value themselves. And they also might change jobs quite a bit. Yeah. Okay. Mercury in the 7th house. This is an interesting placement. The person who has the Mercury in the 7th house really needs an intelligent, deeply thought-provoking, thoughtful, well-schooled, smart, partner, and they desire their partners, their spouses, their boyfriend, girlfriends, and their business partners, people that they work with, to be friggin' smart, to be on their toes and super curious and clever and just top notch, like keep it together. They really love to communicate and exchange ideas. They probably love talking and connecting almost more than anything else. They are really good at discussing and debating. They argue in a way that doesn't make you feel less than them. They can just flush out ideas. And I think they would be really good at interrogations because they could really get you to reveal yourself in a way that would empower and inspire you to divulge. They're really pretty fluent. They're probably phenomenal communicators, and they might communicate in their career. I think these people can have sort of a flowery or a beautiful way of articulating their thoughts. They work very hard at trying to understand other people and other people's needs. And they can put you, if you have a 7th house Mercury, tell me if you put other people at ease just right away. I think that indecision is so painful for 7th house anythings. Whatever you have in the 7th house, there's indecision. And when your mind is in the 7th house on the shadow side, just because I like to keep it real, I like to tell you guys the truth, I think you can be just riddled with indecision, not knowing if you should stay or if you should go. Should I stay or should I go now? Yeah, that's your theme song. They feel kind of stuck in the confused parts of life at times, and they usually need a companion or somebody that they trust that can help them bounce ideas off to get themselves unstuck. The 7th house hates combativeness and they hate to argue. So oftentimes they'll just fold. They'll just completely crumble and be like, okay, whatever you want. I'd rather you have your way than me have to sit here and fight with you or argue with you. So just whatever. So it's very passive aggressive. When your Mercury's here, you can actually think in a very passive aggressive way. It can feel quite tricky for your partner. So I recommend that you get in touch with being direct and being okay with disappointing someone. Mercury in the 8th house, let's talk about it. This is the house of depth. Right here, you're going to have a talent for deep, like forensic analysis and the ability to research. You're going to be extraordinarily insightful. You're going to have an X-ray vision. You're going to want to sort of solve the mysteries, solve the puzzles of life, of yourself, of your partners. You have a natural inclination to psychology. You were born to investigate puzzles, investigate mysteries, investigate people, investigate for truth. You will probably earn your living in a way that, works either with sex, with research, with detective work. You could write murder mysteries here. You could write occult books. You could work with hospice or a mortuary. This is a very deep placement. This is a placement where this person could help be somebody who transitions people from life into death. This is a great surgeon's mind. There's a high focus with this mind. These people also, I wouldn't say they believe in magic, but I think they know they kind of are magical. There's something magical with this placement. The mysteries of the unknown can be revealed here. And they can also probably understand language that is like hieroglyphics, or maybe not a spoken language, but unspoken languages. This is the house of psychic. So if you have your Mercury in the 8th house, you are psychic, you are intuitive. You may even be like a ghostbuster. You might be able to see entities. You might be a medium. You'll have to tell me, and you're also very private and secretive, and you are very discerning who you're going to share with. Like you may share with actually absolutely nobody. And also you're very respectful around boundaries. Like you're not going to ask people, I shouldn't say you're not going to ask people probing things. That's not true. You will, but there's a respect for privacy and there's a respect for boundaries with this placement. Can you relate? Okay, Mercury in the 9th house. This is one of my favorite placements. Now, a lot of people, a lot of books, a lot of astrologers, they say, Mercury doesn't work well with Sagittarius, but this is the broad mind. And this is somebody who is so big thinking. This is the person who sees the whole forest. This person has, I would say, panoramic vision. They can see the whole thing and they have the seagull's optics or the eagle's optics. They can see the whole damn thing, the whole damn picture. And they're not great at the details. I mean, they need a good Virgo, they need a good Gemini in their life. But I'm going to tell you, these people are so intellectual. These people have a gift of the mind. These people want to live by the laws and the belief systems that govern them, that they have chosen to govern them. There's usually a religious or a spiritual tie. These people are so colorful and such great orators. These are like the pastor and Joel Osteen. Is that his name? He's the big minister of the mega church. He's on TV. And I'm not promoting Christianity. I'm just saying, like, he's just so inspiring to millions of people. I'm wondering, I don't know if Martin Luther King, he was a Capricorn. I wonder if he had Mercury in Sagittarius. These are inspirational global thinkers that can just speak to thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, and move an entire stadium or a world with their ability to talk. They can learn foreign languages, and they love learning about foreign cultures, and they would be great interpreters or translators or interrogators. They usually have a teaching aspect to them, and they usually have moved around a lot, learning from all different pockets of the world. And they might be involved in higher education, like getting their master's or their PhD. They also, this is the house of publishing. This is the house of big bad exposure. So if you have your Mercury in the 9th house, tell me what you do. Do you have this grandiose, colorful way of speaking? On the shadow side, these people can be so bombastic and so arrogant and so unfiltered that they hurt people's feelings. They don't always have a thoughtfulness as much as they have an enthusiastic directness. These people are going to tell you if your butt looks big in those jeans, if that color is god awful on your skin. They're just like, nope, don't wear that. They are unfiltered. I mean, they're usually late, and they're usually hurried, and they're usually rushed, and there's a high energy. It's usually an enthusiasm, like, oh my gosh, we have to do it. It's so exciting. They're like at the fairground. These people are excited about life. They're passionate and colorful, but they can be really bombastic. And if they're overblown, and if they have negative aspects to Mercury in their chart, they can be flat out narcissists. I mean, just like narcissistic. Me, and me, and me, and me, and me, and me. And did I mention me? Right? So Mercury in the 10th house, these people might have a writing or a communication or a speaking career. They might talk to people for a career. They can become kind of famous for their knowledge, for their teaching, for their learning, for their writings, for their communications, for their ideas. They love to communicate ideas. They love to put their ideas out there. There's a really big, sober, clear functioning, clear thinking mental placement with these people. They also can have a lot of different talents and a lot of different jobs, a lot of different careers that will have them actually travel. Okay, so these people usually also have a father or somebody in their family that really promotes higher education, communication, public speaking. These people usually have somebody who has sort of pushed them to write, to communicate, to sing, to learn languages, to get a higher degree. I know this to be true. This is very fascinating. And this is also somebody who could have a sibling that had a lot of public recognition. This is a person who will probably do quite a bit of traveling too. So if you have Mercury in the 11th house, you are such a unique thinker, and you have such an intellectual mind, and you actually really care about the world, about humanity. You are adaptable, you're open-minded, you're going to be unconventional. So you're either going to have friends that are older or younger than you or different than you in some way. And you could become, I don't know, the megaphone for some sort of organization, or you could become easily an ambassador with this placement. This is also a placement where maybe your friends become more important than even your siblings. I forget what the cliche is, but it means like family is not always blood. That's very much these people. These people are the humanitarians. And so there's usually a humanitarian aspect to the approach to life and to living. But I have to say, these people are going to walk off the beaten path. They're going to speak in a way that's a little unique or a little different. They might speak in a foreign language and have an accent, and so their words come out a little bit different. Or this could be just somebody who approaches language or writing or thinking or communicating in a way that is very unique to them. And I'll tell you that this is sort of the book club aspect, where you might be a person who organizes a group of people, and this is great networking. This is also a placement where you would be considered extraordinarily friendly. But I will say that these people communicate in a detached, cool way. This isn't a warm house. This is friendly, but it is detached, kind of on the clinical side, a little bit robotic and cool, meaning they check the boxes and not always check the boxes. Sometimes when you have your Mercury in the 11th house, you can be a fascinating person to listen to, but you don't get intimate with me, as much as I want. And I'm not speaking about myself. I'm just saying that it's like, gosh, you're just so riveting and interesting and so unique. I want more of that. But then you find sometimes with a Mercury in the 11th that person can't give you more than that because that's what they've got. They've got the ability to talk to a group, but it's very difficult to go so gushy, whooshy, smushy with one person, right? They keep it cool. They're brilliant because of it. I mean, how often should we keep it kind of cool with our language? So Mercury in the 12th house is the next psychic house. There's 3 psychic houses, the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. And these people are very intuitive, very perceptive. Their mental faculties are kind of subtle. They're like a fish. Fishes don't usually turn around like that. I mean, maybe some do, but there's a subtlety. And they learn to swim with the dolphins. They're like the iceberg. They know the whole entire iceberg. They only show you that much. They're not super giant open books. There's a little bit more of a privacy. These are the people that music resonates the most with. I mean, these people, Mercury in the 12th house, have an obsession to music. They have to have music in their life. Absolutely. The way to open up their minds is to play music. I'm not joking. And they can be quite musical too, but this is more like maybe the acoustic guitar or the violin or the harp or the sound bowl. It doesn't have to be that, but it's usually like music that's gentle on your nerves, that takes you into the angelic realm, that lifts you up, that inspires you, that helps you believe in faith and hope and humanity. And we are all one, and there is a God. It usually isn't like tear down music. If you're going to be in like the destructive tear down music, the Kurt Cobain just filled with angst, that's going to be probably a different house. I don't know. I have to look at Kurt's chart. I have looked at it before, but like angst or anger is going to be, 8th house or 1st house or 9th house. It's just going to be like, wow, so big. Tone almost matters more than what the person is actually saying. If you have your Mercury in the 12th house and somebody's yelling at you, you can't even hear what they're saying. You just hear the rah, 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 and it's like checked out. Or if the tone is loving, you could also not even hear what they're saying. You just hear the tone. So Mercury in the 12th house does not like sitting in a classical classroom either. They just are the daydreamer. They are just so sensitive, and it is so much energy. And you really have to protect your energy so you don't become riddled with anxiety. And you need to be gentle with your ears. Like if you're going to go to the concert, do not stand super close to the speaker. This is also a placement where these people as children learned how to use their imagination, and kind of like children are to be seen, not heard, I guess. Maybe they're not even to be seen, because these are people who like hid their thoughts, hid their voice, maybe didn't speak the truth, maybe didn't lie, but maybe didn't say the truth about themselves, or felt like they had to hide or not tell the truth. There's a deceitful factor in this placement, but that comes from needing to hide, or it wasn't safe to say the thing I felt or say the thing I thought. And there can be a disconnect to their mind where they really keep their rational thoughts over there while they indulge in creativity or the daydream or escapism. These people don't want to have burdening thoughts. They want to be unburdened from their thinking and their thoughts. And they also really struggle with negativity. If you're going to be harsh or a bully or rude or mean, they cannot have you in their life. These people can suffer greatly by heavy-handedness or rudeness. They can barely handle it, and they need to have tranquility in their life, mental tranquility. Well, this is my houses video for Mercury. I hope you guys like this. I am in my planet series. I am going to go through all the planets in between doing lives, but I'm going to be back doing lives, and I'm going to be reading your charts on my lives. You have to subscribe and ring the little bell because they're going to be spontaneous. They're not always going to be on Sundays at 9:30, but don't forget, to watch Susie every single Friday. She's doing tarot for everyone at 4:30 Pacific time on Friday, and I'll be here every Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. And I hope you guys are liking this Mercury series. Next, I'll do Mercury through the signs. And I hope you're wonderful and take good care. From my home in Seattle to wherever you're at in the world, I'm sending you all my love. Take good care. Mwah. Bye for now.